Those white blooms are on what's called a fish plant. They smell like lemon pledge. And there's a grapevine going up there and across. It's been here forever. I don't know that it produces grapes, but it's been here for a long time. So we just leave it. There's a few peas along the fence here. We have picked a bunch off of it. And there's more on the other side. And it's a much longer stretch. We've been having snack time. Snacks in the garden. Blueberries are starting to ripen. And I got my finger caught in the netting. We have to keep netting on them, keep the birds from eating them. They got quite a few of them already, but we got them covered up. This is my rhubarb. I never harvest it. I just let it grow. I don't like rhubarb, but it's there in case anybody ever wants some. We have it. Look at those berries. Ooh, yum. I see more over here. I see more everywhere. They're so good. This is a moonflower. It'll have long, long vines, cover this fence, and have wonderful blooms at night. And here's another one right next to it. And they smell so good. And next to it is a blackberry, and it's blooming. And it has a couple of sunflowers at the base of it trying to come up. This is German chamomile. Has that lacy, leafy stuff going on. And behind it are nasturtiums. These are nasturtiums. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I put a bag of black cow year before last down right here in the garden. And my plants withered up and died, curled up and died. So I was watching Deep South Homestead, and Danny was talking about how his plants withered up like that, curled up like this. Okay, if your leaves start curling like this, that's an herbicide killing them. And you can see where it flowed, where it flowed from over here to over here. And it also flowed back a little ways. And nothing is growing there except for clover. Nothing else wants to grow there. It doesn't seem to want to take. There's a lot of bare spots there because there's herbicide in that dirt. And I'm going to have to dig that all out and replace it. Thanks, Black Cow from Home Depot or Lowe's, wherever I got it. I won't be doing it again. But these nasturtiums that haven't been affected are blooming nicely. And they're doing fine. But they're right next to the ones that are curling, that are getting the herbicide. Aggravating. And you'll have things like that happen. And you'll think, what did I do wrong? You didn't. They did. It's graze on. The cows get it from the hay that's been sprayed to keep the weeds down, because some farmers don't care and they just spray their GMO wheat with herbicide or hay with herbicide, and then it gets in the wheat, and then they also use glyphosates to dry the grains. So you're getting it in your cereal and everything else, the glyphosates, which causes cancer, causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma for one. And nobody's doing anything about it. Where's the FDA when you need them, right? But you just have to be careful about where you're getting your products. Make sure the farmer's not spraying his fields. And what happens is the cows eat that tainted hay, and it comes out in their manure, and then that's processed and sold as manure, and we put it on our gardens. How lovely. They're killing our plants. I don't know if it's intentional, since it's going overlooked. They're not doing anything about it. It makes me wonder if it's an intentional act against farmers. I don't know. What do you think? And parsnips are doing their job, breaking up the ground. They're doing a good job. This is some comfrey. And behind it, those tall leaves are horseradish. And I need to get in there and weed it like I always do. And it's always the last thing to get weeded. This is romaine and garlic. Romaine lettuce. It grows really well here, but you have to keep shade cloth over it. And I have agrofabric over it to keep the sun off. And remember what I was telling you about the oregano? It's here, all here, and I'll walk you around. We're going to walk around this area, and it jumped from here all the way across to over there. So, and even right here, this is all oregano. It just travels. So if you're growing oregano, if you don't have a good area where it can spread and won't cause any problems, I'd suggest putting it in a bed all by itself. It grows great. More grapevines. They're reaching for the sky. As you can see, we got a lot of rain. And along this fence back here, I just planted beans. I figured, utilize the fence. Let it grow some beans. And they go all the way up that way. And there's the other grapevines on the other side. So we've got like 4 or 5 areas with grapevines. This used to be an arbor that went all the way across to there. And we had to take the center part out, the center posts, to cut this tree down because it was just, well, there's 2 trees and they were pretty big trees, as you can see. So we topped them out, and we're still dealing with the pile of logs. There was a lot of it. Spires are blooming. Aren't they pretty? And more German chamomile down here for chamomile tea. For every tree we cut down, we replace it with a fruit tree. That's a pear. This is a Jonathan apple. And there's 2 peach trees right in there. And a pear tree over there. And a couple of other trees. Service berry and something else. And there's also a black cherry tree beyond. You can see the box that it's in. It's back there. And then we have that dead tree. The top fell out of it and smashed my fence. We've got to take that down. Eventually, everything has its time. The roses are doing their thing. They're being rosy, and they're growing. Lots of new growth. This is a hydrangea I picked up last year that was pretty much dead, and I've nursed it back to health, and it's looking pretty good. My wisteria back there still hasn't bloomed. Probably doesn't get enough sun. And there's another one growing up the tree behind Jim. That's Jim. Hello, Jim. He's our resident butler. Our pond plants are going crazy, but they're doing fine. And there's another pond back there. And steps that we borrowed from our neighbor that he doesn't want them back. So they're still here. And the cats like to get up on it, so might as well just be there. I just have to look every time I come out here. Can't resist. See? See if I can get that where you can see it. Ew, my phone beeped. They're everywhere. I had a pack of 5-year-old Art Combs ancient watermelons in the refrigerator and in my seed refrigerator. And I thought, okay, I'll put 2 seeds out and see if anything happens. They never have. This time, one's coming up. I'm impressed. And these are some others that I put out. Don't ask me what they are. They're edible. That's all that matters. And there's some type of squash. This over here is a little cantaloupe. And I think those up through there are also cantaloupes. They're looking pretty good. Looking healthy. Celery. And onions. Last year's onions that we missed. And they're back. I'll take it. Egyptian walking onions. And they do walk. They travel all over. Strawberries. Look at those pretty babies. Aren't they sweet? More strawberries over in there. And all over. We're getting the strawberries right now. It's that time of year. The asparagus. And more strawberries. is a wild strawberry right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. I can't see it because of the sun. Cherokee tan pumpkin. Basil and a tomato. And there's more. There's lots more. And there's some peppers up there. And some old shredded up shade cloth to keep the afternoon sun at bay. Because here lately, that sun is a beast. This is the path going out to my garden. Mint. Let's see which kind of mint this is. Spearmint. My purple clematis started blooming. And the hosta's blooming. Remember the wildlife. There's a little bird bath Sherry put together. And there's the chickens over there. These are the butternut squash that Sherry planted next to the chickens, which are right there. These are peppers waiting for transplant. A bouquet for Mom.
can't get across the section because it's just not there anymore. Now, as I mentioned with the reporting on this, I read that the elevated stretches of highways are not generally built to withstand super hot fires like the one you're describing. Is this seen as a highly unusual event, or is this going to raise questions about the I-95 bridge collapse in Philadelphia? Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. This is here and now. When the Beatles came to America in 1964, many people great photographic material. The Beatles' arrival as it looks through McCartney's camera. On the next morning edition from NPR News. Doing Marianne Village tomorrow morning at 91.7 WBXU. I'm Sharon Brody. In a civil lawsuit today in Oregon has found electric utility Pacific was responsible for causing devastating fires during Labor Day 2020. The jury says the utility should be held financially liable for homes destroyed in the fire. 17 homeowners had sued the facility about the utility.
We put the shade cloth over the cabbage. The tomatoes kind of got beaten about a little bit from the rain. We had torrential rain yesterday, and it kind of beat them up a little bit. These do not have electroculture on them. Romaine lettuce down in there, and garlic. Lots and lots of garlic. Grapevines are putting on some new growth. Looking pretty good. And on this side, this one's looking pretty good too. It's gotten tall. It's as tall as I am. This is oregano. If you plant oregano, put it where it can take over the area, because it will. These are the tomatoes with the copper wires, the electroculture. And I'm going to have to get in there and weed them out. After all this rain we had, lots and lots of weeds come up. The tomatoes on the other side that don't have the electroculture seem to be getting benefits from it, because they're all doing better than the other tomato plants. So, I don't know. Time will tell. They're the same type of tomatoes, and they were planted at the same time, so we'll see. Our first blooms on zucchini, or some kind of squash. That one over there is a zucchini. I put some Captain Jacks on them. They were getting nibbled on, the leaves. Peonies are starting to bloom. There's your bone. You want the bone?
But again, because Russia uses the
You want the bone?
interference devices that disrupt the signal for the drone or GPS signal,
Well,
they may fly the drone as they want. So
what?
they may
We just
target
came in
their
from
own
outside.
buildings, maybe by chance or maybe
You've got
on
water.
purpose.
You've got
Anyways, today
food.
Russians in
You've
Moscow
got
especially
treats.
realized that the special
But you want
military
chicken.
operation is not that far away.